Hello, everyone. This is George from the GADS program. Um, I'll be continuing my series of quick lab sessions in following the curriculum on Pluralsight. You remember the process is you click on the lab, you you right click on the open lab and open it in a private window or an incognito window. Use your Pluralsight email and password associated with the GADS program. You need to do it this way so that you won't have issues accessing the labs. Okay, so previously there was an error on this lab in terms of the available zones. I think there was an issue on GCP or Quick Labs itself. So today I'll be rerunning this lab again. Let's see what happens. Okay, so in the lab we'll be working with two users, trying to learn how to manage permissions and see the effects that permissions have when they have been assigned to a particular entity, and how to manage this. Okay, so the lab is designed for an hour, but of course if you're doing it for the first time, you might not even the time might not be enough for you. But nonetheless, if it doesn't work out, just end the lab. Make sure you always end your lab. Talk to their support, because maybe when you try the second time there will be a quota error. Tell them you're part of the GADS program and you're trying to perfect your skills. They would lift that quota limitation and give you an opportunity. By the second or third time, you will be able to be more fluent in carrying out the lab. Okay, so let's open the lab in a new tab. Normally when you open this lab in a new tab, it should populate it with the email that will be here, but in this case you are working with two email accounts, so you would have to manually do that. Both email accounts are using one particular password, so we pick the password and put that in. Okay, all right, then we are instructed to open the second account, to sign into the second account from this location. So once I have accepted this agreement, I don't need to click on the email updates. It's not necessary. The email doesn't belong to you, so it won't matter. It only make things difficult for you. So to get into the second user, click on this add account. My mistake. Let's go back there. Click on this once more, right click on this, open in a new tab. Okay, then pick this second email, come here, add that, click on this, go back here, take out copy the password, add that, and then sign in. Okay, so let's look at our objectives, which is to use Cloud IAM to implement access control, restrict access to specific feature or resources, and then use the service account user role. Okay, so set up two users, we've done this. Explore the IAM console, go to the first user and then check the IAM console and see what options are available. So I'll just type IAM, sorry, click on this. I said click on add and then check out the drop down and see what options are available. So let's click on add here, and then here you put in whatever email you're trying to attach a role permissions to, attach a role to. Then if you look through, you see each resource has a particular set of permissions, a role, sorry, that are associated with it. So custom role, basic, where you have editor, owner, viewer. This is project wide. Then by product or service. So if you place your cursor on this, it shows you a list of roles that can be attached to whatever the principle that you add to this box here. So we click cancel. Okay, so that is that. If you go over to the username for 2, on the username, browse the list lines and see the names associated with username 1 and 2. So we come here, we hadn't completed this process. Let's complete this process. Okay, so we're going to IAM console and then check to see the permissions, the roles that have been granted to the 2 different emails that are being used in this lab. So I'll type here. Okay, let me get rid of this. Come in here, type I am. So I click this. Okay, if you go down here, see the first user has all these roles attached to it, assigned to it. Then the second user is just a viewer on the project. Okay, so that's that. Now prepare a resource for testing. So we create a bucket with a unique ID or unique name and make sure it's multi region. Okay, so and then we upload a file and rename the file this and then check our progress. So let me go over where we're supposed to do this as user 1. So let me type in here bucket. Okay, so click on this. So create bucket, give it a unique name. I decided to pick the ID of the project. It's usually easier that way. Then it's multi-region and then we create just a basic bucket. Then we upload a file, rename it to sample.txt. So let me upload a file from my folder. Let me see if I can pick any old one. Okay, let me pick this one. Okay, give it a few seconds. Okay, so we click here and select rename. We're supposed to rename it to this. It's important you do so using the instructions because the grading system will check you based on the required names and all that. So okay, go back to user 2 and go to this cloud storage and see if you can access that particular bucket. I hit the enter cloud storage to this. Okay, buckets are global in the sense that the names are unique irrespective of who owns it. So each bucket name has to be unique. Okay, so let's click on this so that we see the content of the bucket. So our sample file is there. Now remove project access in user 1. Go to user 2 and get rid of user 2 so that it no more has the project viewer access. Okay, go here. Dismiss this. Go down here. Click on this. Not this. Sorry, we're not adding the roles or editing it. We're removing this particular user. So let's get rid of that. Confirm that. Then we are to go over. Give it a few sec while it gets rid of. Okay. Now click on this again. Notice that the user has disappeared from the list. Check my progress with this. Okay, so that works. Now go back to this and then do a storage browser. Let's go to this. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let me go over to buckets. So this user should not have access to the buckets anymore, but usually it's not that immediate. Okay, so that's the error we expected. So you refresh it a bit before the changes will take effect. All right, so add storage access. Go copy the value of user 2 from here, which is this. Now go into the IAM, add a user, and then add the storage object viewer role to that user. So we are here in 1. We'll click this, add that principal, which is user 2. Come down here, do a filter so that it helps you find what you're looking for faster. Go down to the bottom. I believe that's where storage viewer is. Okay, so that's storage object viewer. Click on that and then save. Okay, so come back here, we check our progress. Okay, still taking effect, so just give it a sec. Now check it again, it works. Now verify that user 2 has storage access. So let's activate our Cloud Shell. I usually prefer to activate my Cloud Shell in an adjoining tab. That's because it gives me more space than would be allowed if I kept it here. But it's up to you. You could leave it here, you could take it to the next tab. If you wanted to do so, just click here. Okay, it opens in a new window. Okay, so but let me leave it here because we're not doing much. Okay, so we're here. So let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we are going to list the buckets that can be found in this project. So the bucket ID was used as the unique name for the bucket, so I'm going to take that one. Come here, gs util list gs that, and let's see. So authorize the shell to make that call, and then of course we have our item there. Okay, so now set up the service account user. Service accounts are used to grant resources and processes permission to access certain things on Google Cloud. Okay, so we're going to create a service account. We are going to call the service account read bucket objects, and then we are going to attach the role of storage object viewer and then continue. Where are we doing this? That's important. Okay, so switch to user 1. So that's very important. Please take note. If you make a mistake, of course, you can always fix it later. Okay, you can undo, but be very careful. The resources are limited, so if you over provision, go beyond what is expected, then you most likely might have issues. Okay, so the role has to do with storage. As usual, I will just filter and then go down storage viewer. That's it, and then let's click on continue. You can actually add people here or principals here, but we will be doing that later. You could add them here and then give them the access, so but we're not doing that here. So after we do that, we add the user to the service account, select this service account, click manage permissions, and then add this domain, and then select a role, service account user. Okay, so let's go to the add user to the service account. Okay, let's click on this. Let's go here. Oh, sorry, go back to the service account. go down, that's it, and then click here and click on manage permissions. Who can actually use this service account? So you click on grant access, then put that domain name, and then here you say service account user, service account. So service account, this one, let's go down, service account user, this one, let's be sure. Okay, service account, then click save. Okay, so with that role added, it is, you can now use any service account that associated with any resource that you have access to. Okay, so grants compute engine access, this. Okay, so okay, let's look through that one more time. So we're going to add a user to that service account. We click on the service account and then manage permissions, and then grant this domain, this group of users identified by this name, service account user. That means they can use that service account. Then we now go to add a role. Okay, so come here, come back here, click on add role, and then we add this entity, okay, or principal. That would be a collection of people. Okay, that's the default way to handle a particular permission or role that you wish to share with a group of people. Okay, so select a role. This is this. Okay, so we're going to give it access to compute. Let me filter that. Compute instance admin version 1. Okay, click save. Now we create a VM in this zone. We had issues the other day while I tried this lab for the first time. So if it's the zones were overused, so resources were not being created in those zones. So let's hope that has been fixed. If it has not been fixed, you simply just report, click here, get support, and complain about the whole issue. Okay, so let's create an instance. The instance is called demo IAM and is in US Central 1. So let's put this down, and the zone is C. Now what else are we? N1 micro. So we change this N1, then we change this to micro, then service account, we change it to this, and then we create. Okay, so let's go down here, service account, that's the service account we created. All right, with that service account attached to that instance would have any permissions you add or roles you add to that service account will give that instance access. And then in further keeping with the lab, a certain group of people identified with that domain name are given access to that service account. Okay, so they have access to that service account. This service account has access to certain resources. They themselves have been given access to attached. The role instance admin has been attached to this group of people, so they can actually work with any computer engine instance. And because that instance they're working with now has access to that service account, which has access to the role that's attached to it, so they invariably also have access. Okay, so it worked out, so they have fixed the issue, so we are good to go. Check our progress. Nice. Okay, so we got 20 marks complete. Now explore the service account user role. Okay, so at this point you might have the user test access by connecting via SSH to the VM and performing the next actions. As the owner of the project, you already possess the service account user role, so you can simulate what the user would experience by using just using SSH to access the VM from the Cloud Console. So we come here and then we want to list instances. So we go to then we close this. Yes, let's close this one. We don't need it. We come here, SSH into that instance we created. Just give it a few seconds while it's coming up. Let's check the instructions. We list the instances. Here it says we try to list the instances, and of course we get error. Okay, did not succeed. What happened? Copy this to you created earlier. Note the trailing. Okay, all right, so we're going to copy this sample file from our bucket back here. Okay, all right, so let's check and see what we okay. So let me zoom in a bit. Okay, so we do gcloud instances lists. Oh, it's gcloud instances lists. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I used the plural. Still complaining. I think I got that compute instance. Okay. I don't want to check the command. Let me try and get it without checking up the command as given to us. Okay, compute instances of compute list. Okay, it's taking longer than expected. That most likely we don't have permission to check that, but let's hold on. Okay, so the first one should error out. All right, so we have errors as we try to list. That means we don't have the permissions. You know, these permissions are on a need to have basis, in the sense that being an admin might not give you access to be able to list. But let's see what's going on. Now let's copy the ID of our buckets and then try to list the buckets from our VM instance. Okay, so let's come here. Let's do gs util lists gs bucket ID. I'm having network issues. Okay, thought I copied that. Okay, let me copy it again. Okay, copied. Let me pick that one up. Okay, it did go. All right, so let me go back. So let's see if I'll be able to list. Is it okay? It wasn't a list, it was a copy. So we're copying. Note the period after that long statement. That period is in Linux is specifying that we should copy this sample file to this location. So let's hit enter. Okay, so if you do a list, okay, the file is there. So we have permission to list the file there. Okay, so that works. Okay, so to rename the file you copied, run this following command. So we can just copy this, come over here, put it here, and drop it. Okay, so if you list it out, you see the name has changed to sample2.txt. Now we're going to copy this sample2.txt and place it back in our bucket. So I'm going to select this because I know that's the ID of or the unique name of our bucket. Copy sample2 to this location. and let's see whether we have, okay, sorry, not this. Okay, all right, so we're in order. So let's see if that will work. Access denied. Okay, we can only copy read per se, but we cannot write to that bucket. Okay, so because you connected via SSH to the instance, you can't act as the service account, essentially assuming the same permissions. Oh, the service account, the instance was started with had the storage viewer role, which permits downloading objects from GCS buckets in the project. To list instances in a project, you need to grant the complete instance.list permissions. Okay. Oh, so you don't immediately assume a role. It says because you connected to via SSH to the instance, you can act as a service account, of course, as a service account. To list instances, you need to have this compute instance list permission, which we don't have. Okay, so let's browse the lists for this. For the read objects, click on the pencil icon. Currently, the storage viewer role is there. Alter the role to cloud storage object creator and click save. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, I'll click this. No, hold on, what are we changing? Okay, so read buckets this. Okay, hold on, IAM browse the list for the lines with this. Okay, we're changing that to storage object creator, so that's it here. Click this, change this to, I'm going to filter this storage bucket creator. Okay, storage object, sorry. Okay, and click that. You can actually test the changes. That's a new one, wasn't there before. Okay, so now that we've done this, we return here and try to run that copy command again. Okay, hopefully it should have taken effect. If it doesn't, we'll just try it again. Just hold on, give it a bit, just keep trying. Still not going. It's okay, it's not immediate. Access denied, same thing. Okay, so just keep trying. Let me clear the screen, and then it's taking long to propagate. Okay, let's go down. Storage object creator. Let me be sure I did the right thing. Storage object creator, yes I did. Okay, so we're almost done with the lab. This is just the last part of it. Access denied exception. Interesting. Okay, so do you know what we'll do? Let's close this out, go back here, go to the instances. That's what I'm trying to search for. This. Most likely we need to SSH back in there for that to take effect. So let's do that again. Okay. Hopefully it would have stored our previous commands, so we don't need to type it again. Just use our arrow keys to flip through the history, command history, and then pick the command we want to use. I would think so. It didn't work. Okay, so gs util copy sample gs. Okay, let me pick the bucket name from here and go back here and then put that there, and then let's see what happens. gsutil, got the command wrong, so let's go back here. gsutil, put a t there, and then still getting it wrong. Okay, so let's come back here. let's do this util. There you go. All right, so the file was actually copied. If you do a gs util lists gs buckets, you should see to access denied. That's crazy. So we can actually create objects, but we can't read. So if we want to create and read objects like we did previously, we need to add those two permissions to it. So we're not having the read permissions here, so we can only push in objects into that bucket, but we can't read from it. So let's close this. So we're done. Okay, thanks for watching. Just make sure you close all your resources. Don't ever leave a lab running, because that will affect the next time you come in. Okay, so close the lab here. Okay, leave a rating. I rate this lab as being excellent. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please leave your comments for areas where you don't understand. Leave your likes, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll truly be grateful if you do that. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.